The subject of this tutorial is step and a half bends, and this is really a technique that can give you some variety and some novelty to your lead playing. It's great for when you're improvising as well, particularly in a blues, rock, or fusion setting. And basically this is just sort of an addition to your normal bending technique of whole steps and half steps. And so whereas a whole step bend goes up 2 frets, a half step up 1 fret when you're matching the notes, a step and a half is matching pitches up 3 frets. So in this case we'll be bending up a lot here on the 15th fret of the 2nd string. If I was going to go up 3 frets, I would be matching this 15th fret to the pitch of the 18th fret. So these bends are a lot easier to execute sort of in the mid-range of your guitar neck where the strings are a little looser. Of course, the thinner the string, the easier it's going to be to bend also. And really you can do them anywhere as long as you've got the power under your fingers, but they're particularly useful here. And we'll look at a couple different applications of where you would use this. What we'll start out by looking at is over a minor 7 chord. If I'm over a D minor 7 chord, for example, the root note of that, of course, is a D, and I can find that here on the 15th fret of the 2nd string. Normally, bending off of the root isn't that effective way to follow the changes when you're playing. But here, if we bend a step and a half off of the root, we're actually going to get to the flat third, which is a chord degree or a chord tone out of that minor 7 chord. So it'll actually hit this F note up an octave out of that D minor 7. So we'll hit this note. So we can actually bend off the root to hit that. So it works well over a minor 7 chord. Another application of it, though, is bending from the 5 to the flat 7. That's also a step and a half, or a minor third. So with this minor 7 chord, I could take an A note, which I can find here on the 14th fret of the 3rd string, and I can bend that up to match the pitch of the 17th fret. And so that's a way that I can also bend from the 5th to the flat 7. That'll also work over a dominant 7th chord. So if I have a D dominant 7, I can also make that work from the 5 to the flat 7. So in this case, we've got 3 licks that sort of use this idea. This is over the minor 7 idea, bending from the root to the flat third. And there's sort of 3 applications of ways that we can phrase with this. So the first one that we'll look at is taking that root note and just going ahead and bending it up that step and a half. And so that just gives you sort of a wide sounding surprise bend in the middle of your lick. And so we'll be taking this D and bending it up to sound like an F. And so this is sort of out of the blues scale, D blues scale that starts on the 12th fret of the 4th string. And so putting this lick in context. One more time. So if you want those exact pitches and rhythms, you can refer to the tab at the beginning of the video. But it starts off with just a regular whole step bend from the 4th up to the 5th of the chord. And then notice here on the 13th fret of the 1st string, I'm hitting the flat third, and then bending to that same note. So I'm bending up that step and a half when I get to this 15th fret of the 2nd string. So there's our first lick. The second lick is going to use a little trick that's a really nice melodic thing that you can put into some licks, and this is using the 9th with the chord. And depending on what kind of music you're playing, landing on the 9 can sound kind of cool. In jazz, it's known as a color tone, and in blues it can sound kind of nice as well. So if I take this same D note on the 15th fret of the 2nd string and bend it up a whole step, that'll give me the 9th. And in some instances, I can get away with just hanging on that. In this case, though, we can do something kind of cool and actually resolve it to the flat third. So we can bend up that whole step and then kick it up one more half step to that step and a half bend. And then go and land on the root again. So I'm matching this pitch and then kicking it up one more to match this pitch, the 18th fret. So you can kind of provide some tension with that ninth and then resolve it to the flat third. So in this case, with this lick, I'm going to be sort of traveling from this position of the blues scale into this position. So let's go ahead and play that second lick. One more time. So I started out just with sort of a cliche blues thing, bending from the 4 to the 5 again, and then sliding from the 5 up to the flat 7 into this new position, and then without even breaking that bend, kicking it up. So that's our second lick. For the third lick, let's take this even a step farther. There's a couple tricks that you can do with this idea as well. You don't always have to bend all the way up to that step and a half. There's a couple other things that we can do. This would give us a sound sort of like this, where we're hitting the 9 and then fretting the flat third. But instead of going to a new string, what we can do is go ahead and bend up to the 9 and then use the 4th finger to fret next to it. Since the string is already bent up a whole step, this fretted note is also going to be bent up a whole step. So notice that gives me the same effect. You can also do this on the first string, which is great because you really don't have a string past that to fret if you want to bend to a fretted note. And so in this case, I'm bending the 9th and then fretting the flat third on top of that. So bending up to E and then hitting F. Now, one other application that we'll actually throw into this lick is sort of a fun novelty sound, and that's adding a legato slide in with your bend. So we're actually going to start down at the 3rd fret, which is also a D on the 2nd string, and slide all the way into the 15th fret and go straight into that bend. So the cool thing about that is it sounds like this bend that really goes over an octave. It's also a great way to bridge positions of a scale that are quite a distance away from each other. So I'll start with a lick down here that begins like in the open position. So I'm slurring off of the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, landing on the F, which is also the flat third of this chord. And once again, you can get the exact rhythms off of the tab at the beginning of the video. And I'm slurring from 1 to 3 on the 2nd string and then sliding right up to the 15th. So let's take a look at that whole lick. One more time. So I hope you have fun with those, and good luck incorporating that into your own music.
Hey everyone, my name is Ryan Newell. I play guitar in the band Sister Hazel. This would be a G chord, and you just strum down and then arpeggiate back up. And the last bend is just